Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a cheeky look at Cardano's ADA. We're going to be starting off with this weekly chart. So guys, let's get right on into it. Here we can see that we have got the weekly chart from Binance, and we can see that ADA has had a phenomenal run this year so far. And if we take a look at this 5 impulse wave to the upside, we can see it started in March of 2020, with wave 1 completing around July of 2020. The correction for wave 2 was around September when that bottomed out, and then obviously we went into wave 3, which is most recently finished up at around May the 10th approximately. And from here we can obviously see that we are in that 4th wave correction, and it is still possible that ADA could potentially fall a little bit lower, although I do feel that the worst could be behind us when it comes to ADA. And what we're going to do is we're going to just jump on down into our daily view. And from this daily view, what we can do, guys, is actually see what's been going on most recently with the days here. So basically, we came down, we touched on a new low level here for Cardano. This came in at $1, okay? We bounced from this level very, very easily. And ultimately, we started to push the price to the upside. Now, this is an important thing just to acknowledge because we are running out of steam here for the upward swing for Cardano's ADA. So in the next kind of few hours, you're going to start seeing this thing reverse down. And this is not something you should be alarmed about, and we'll get into why this will be. Okay, so one of the things that we want to kind of just focus in on this daily chart is obviously the Fibonacci retracement tool here. And this again just shows us what our expectations are for the 5th wave. And again, we have this kind of up here towards that $10 range, but it could be anywhere between $7.20 and $10. Now, you can, of course, go above and beyond this with speculation around all the fantastic things that are yet to come for Cardano. But ultimately, you want to try to keep it within the realms of what this technical data has currently. So right now, we're seeing about $7.20, and I think we can overextend that a little bit, heading towards that $10 range by the peak of the bull run. So as we enter into wave 5, which I don't think has started yet, we will start seeing some significant rise in price here for Cardano's ADA. Now, what we're going to do is just get into a couple of things that we can see here on this daily chart quickly. So obviously the volumes, whilst the price has been moving up, the volume's been decreasing down, and that sentiment on the daily chart here is an interesting thing. So with this sentiment being quite fearful in the last few days, we can see that their volumes have been decreasing. However, when we actually take a look at the artificial intelligence from 𝗖𝗢, here we can actually see that the fear and greed index is rated as a B3. This is actually a really good indication that things are reversing nicely here for Cardano. And again, this came in at midnight last night, so this is actually giving you a bit of an indication as to what was due to come today. Now, obviously, when we take a look at the generalized fear and greed index, this is extreme fear. So when we have the extreme fear from a generalized crypto space, it is kind of the opposite to what we're seeing here from the artificial intelligence on the 𝗖𝗢. So when we take a look at this daily chart, and we can see the sentiment is not quite aligned to what the AI is telling us, but is more aligned to what the generalized fear and greed index is telling us, that means that something else is happening on some of these smaller time frames. So as we jump on down into our daily view here, we can see more about what has been going on most recently. We can also see how we bottomed out down here, and this is where we started to see significant buying volume come in. Okay, so this was happening yesterday, and again, I think this is what the AI was picking up on, and what we started to see was basically pushed to the upside. The volumes were still decreasing at this point, but there were significant volumes as it touched down on this buy zone here. And obviously we came back down to this support line of $1.12. And again, during that moment there, we actually started to push the price back up again. But again, that sentiment was still much the same. It was a decrease in volume with an increase in price. So again, right away we know here that sentiment hadn't changed. It got really interesting around this point today, however, where the sentiment has clearly changed. The volumes were increasing as the price was increasing. And as we had these little pullbacks, the volume started to decrease. This is exactly what you want to see as you're starting to get some confidence back in the market as the price is increasing. And this helped protect the price on the way down and obviously helped the rally to the upside. So right now, again, we have some good volume coming in here in the last few hours as we are pushing that price to the upside. So again, that sentiment definitely has changed most recently in the last few hours. And this kind of then means that this artificial intelligence was picking up on this a little bit ahead of time here and was able to give us an indication as to what was likely to come during the later part of today. So that's actually a really positive thing to see. Now, obviously, we are kind of coming up to this resistance area. We can see that just across here, and this comes in at about $1.38. And right now, we are approaching that oversold area. So the expectations are that we are going to fall back down, and we're going to have a bit of a correction state coming here. I reckon that we're probably going to find that $1.28 is going to be a support zone for us. So we're going to have to expect a bit of a drop for Cardano's ADA in the short term, potentially over the next kind of few hours or so. And what we want to see here is low volume decreasing as we have this correction. This will help pull this relative strength index to the downside, get corrected on that RSI while protecting that price on the way down. If we can find good support here and we have good volume coming back in for a rally to the upside, this could take us up to these other areas of serious congestion around $1.48. $1.50 up into that upper area there. And again, that's going to be the next kind of boundary for us to really push on through with Cardano ADA on these smaller time frames. So right now, we want to really be paying attention as to what is going on here. And again, we can really focus in and say, okay, there was definitely some head and shoulder patterns here forming. Okay, we can kind of see these things. And obviously this is on the smaller time frame, so it's less meaningful. But we kind of had this breakout here, a retest of this area before moving on to the upside. Now, ultimately, this is something quite similar. You see this pattern here actually forming a lot across many different altcoins, not just Cardano. But ultimately what you're seeing here is a push to the upside, and we're going to see an immediate kind of pullback in the next few hours, and we're looking to find support on that $1.28. If we can do that, then that should put us in a good position to continue the motion to the upside. With this being said, if we just hop back up into our daily for a second and just reference what Bitcoin is up to, we have to appreciate that we are expecting a pullback for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's pullback is likely to bring this down a little way, and obviously the altcoins will follow. So when I say that we're expecting a pullback for Bitcoin and for Cardano, then this is going to be short-lived, but once it is over with, we're going to be pushing Bitcoin up towards that 40k level, and Cardano is going to go along for that journey as well. So again, where we are right now is this area where we have actually reached a bit of resistance. We are oversold or approaching the oversold area. So the overbought area, and what we're going to be looking to do is actually pull that relative strength index towards the oversold zone, and we want to protect that price as much as we can. Now Bitcoin's going to be correcting, and many of the markets in this space will be reacting to that, and Cardano will be no exception. With this being said, however, it's clearly not that fearful. At least everyone who is an investor in Cardano obviously clearly know what they hold, whereas the entire crypto space is kind of more fearful than what is currently here for Cardano in its isolation. So for Cardano's ADA, it's definitely performing much better than some of these other altcoins, and we are looking to get that stability around this one of $1.28, $1.38 in that zone, while Bitcoin corrects down a little bit lower in the next kind of 24 hours to 48 hours or so. And then obviously we'll be looking to get Bitcoin pushed to 40k, which would put Cardano heading towards that $1.50 and upwards towards that $1.80 or so. So in that kind of zone there. Bitcoin is due another correction after that, and then obviously we'll take it step by step from there. But ultimately, guys, we always like to zoom right out and see where things are going. So in this short update for Cardano, we just wanted to kind of let everyone know what we're seeing here in the data, that we've had a fantastic day today, but we are expecting a pullback tomorrow. So prepare yourselves for that. And ultimately, we're going to be bouncing significantly higher once that kind of small correction has come in for Bitcoin. That will send us up to that $1.50 area, and before we actually go ahead and get a slightly deeper correction for Bitcoin, which will then put us into another fantastic move to the upside. So guys, hope you enjoyed this short update for Cardano. If you have, then do go ahead and hit that like button. I really appreciate that. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date, then do go ahead and hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, hit on all notifications, and you won't miss a single thing. With that said, done and out of the way, guys, we hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.